Welcome to the Signal Tanker Chartering Academy. This academy has been designed as a tool to provide a holistic overview of the chartering ecosystem for shipping professionals and enthusiasts. The academy is split into three key sections. The first section is the Tanker Shipping Basics. The second section is the Introduction to Tanker Chartering, and the third section relates to the end-to-end vessel fixing cycle. Let's take it from the beginning. Everything starts with the need to move cargoes, and more specifically, oil. Different cargo types are accommodated by different vessel types and sometimes sizes. The refinery process ends up in three different cargo types: dirty, clean, and IMO. Starting with the dirty type, you can see cargoes ranking from crude to fuel oil. On the clean side of cargoes, you can see that we start with diesel, jet, and gas oil, which are very common cargoes, moving down to the gasoline, which is a light product. Finally, the IMO cargoes are transported with special vessels with stainless steel tanks, which can move chemical and edible category cargoes. This is the whole tanker's world. It is divided into 8 main vessel classes: small, handy, MR1, MR2, Panamax or LR1 in case of carrying clean cargo, Aframax or LR2 for clean cargoes, Suezmax, and VLCC. Each class can load different cargo types and quantities and has specific characteristics. These types have been standardized over the last decades to satisfy specific geographical and demand needs. For example, the significant Chinese demand for crude oil is typically covered with VLCC vessels from Saudi Arabia. Starting from the small tankers, we're talking about vessels with a length of about 150 meters. They have a cargo capacity ranging from 10 to 25,000 tons and are typically used for different cargo types. Overall, we could say that the larger the vessels, the higher the standardization of the cargo type and the routes they sail. Each tanker class is linked to a different size of OPEX, operating expenditure, and CAPEX, capital expenditure required for a new and second-hand vessel. OPEX may vary across vessel operators based on their standards, and CAPEX values are related to the market cyclicality. Starting with VLCCs, the cost of a new building, given today's steel prices and assuming decent market levels, could be approximately $90 million. Overall, you can see that a 10-year-old vessel, which is in the middle of her lifespan, costs almost half of the amount required for a new building. Another very important observation has to do with the economies of scale. For example, a VLCC, which can carry twice the quantity of a Suezmax, costs only 38% more. The same applies across all classes. Now, let's move to the OPEX. How much does a tanker need to operate on a daily basis? OPEX is an extremely important component of a vessel's financials. Of course, this amount does not include the capital or debt repayment cost, wherein most of the cases can be significant, even equal to the OPEX. In the blue bars, you can see the daily OPEX in thousands of dollars across key tanker classes. For example, an average operating cost for a VLCC is around $9,500 per day. It is important to mention that OPEX can vary per year and commercial operator. So here we show some average amounts to provide you with a sense of the OPEX level. Similar to CAPEX, it is key to highlight the economies of scale. The cost does not follow linearly the size of the vessel. For example, a VLCC has generally only 8% more OPEX compared to a Suezmax. This is explained by the composition of OPEX. As you can see, the crew cost represents more than half of the total OPEX, but crew composition and numbers are very similar across tanker classes. The remaining components include administration costs, stores, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. Crew composition is not materially different across tanker classes. This has to do with the fact that regardless of the size of a tanker, specific positions need to be addressed in the crew matrix. These positions refer to the master and officers as well as the engineers. Typically, the crew is split into 3 departments: deck, engine, and catering. The composition of positions and numbers of seafarers refers to Aframax, though all medium to large classes follow a similar composition. This brings us to the end of the first video on the tanker shipping basics.